I'm wondering now if there's any filmmakers that are potentially watching in the audience. What sort of advice would you give to filmmakers who might be nervous about working with an established composer or working with a composer in general? Like, what's some advice you would give to them about communicating?
Oh, first of all, just know that the whole fact that you've gotten it together to make a film. I mean, making music and producing it is hard and complicated and challenging financially and every other way. But making a film, that's a harder. And so, first of all, you should be very proud of yourself. Know that most composers really respect that, and don't come into the relationship fearful. There's lots of ways that you can learn to communicate with your composer, and you don't need to know anything about music. All you need is your honest reaction to what you hear and how that relates to your storytelling, your narrative, and if it's helping the feeling that you're trying to get, or if it's interfering with it. Follow your own instincts about what's working. You're directors direct. And I also say, when you make a film, you generally work with an editor. So if you can work with an editor, you can work with a composer. You can talk to us in the same way you talk to your editor. And we because we are the ones, we'll translate that, put it through our turn it into music process. You just need to be able to be clear about the purpose of the music, what you're hoping it will do for the film, each cue, what it is, what's important emotionally, what's the emotional story. And because what's basically happening is you've got your footage, your narrative, then you've got sound, and then you've got music. Music is the emotional narrative of the film. So I always want to make sure I'm telling the same story as the filmmaker. That's what's really important, is that my music is telling and reinforcing and supporting the story that you're telling. So as long as you can, maneuver that, as long as you can stay in touch with, is it setting the right tone for what I'm trying to do here? That's all you need to know. And so when you talk to your composer in the early stages, really talk about your film that way. Like, at this part, like, also break it down. Like, I realized that filmmakers are in school, if they go to school and they're educated in filmmaking, they learn about 3 acts, the structure of the 3 acts, and maybe 4 acts, whatever. And so you can talk about sections of the film, and this is what has to happen in this act. Act 1, we meet the characters, we set up the problems. Act 2, we delve into how they deal with the problems. And Act 3, aha, the happy or sad ending. Basically, there's only so many human narratives. And so once we understand, oh, okay, and now it's like we tweak, we get involved and go, well, how, you can say happy, sad, whatever, but within happy or sad, there's happy goes all the way down to sort of happy to mildly happy, low expectations happy, and then there's ecstatic, and there's all this stuff in between. And that's the area that music helps with. How happy is it? Is it really happy, or is there a little bit of danger involved in the happiness? Is there a challenge involved? Is there heroics involved? And sad, is it like slit your wrist sad, or is it, oh, whiny sad, or, so if you're clear about the purpose of your scene, then you can explain that to your composer. And the composer, if they're paying attention, will understand the nuances. And then it becomes a matter of, they have to just throw things at the wall and see, is this it? The other thing I would highly recommend is a lot of composers feel like the first cue they send has to be utterly out of the ballpark. And so they work and work and work and work, and maybe they'll do the first half hour or hour of the film before they send anything. I've learned in my experience, it's better to go with my instincts at the beginning, send something as soon as I can to get some feedback. Basically, it could sound, I could use any instruments. I could, we have to limit the possibilities. So, once, it's much easier to talk about music when there's something to listen to than it is in the abstract. You and I can have a whole conversation. Oh yeah, the violins should do this, and and I want a trombone when that happens. And okay, let me put it together for you, and you can hear it. That's how you find out. People have to hear it, and then they go, oh my God, the trombones are ridiculous here. How about flute? So it starts, my new rule of thumb is build on ideas that work. And the only way to find what's working is to start sending things as fast as I can. And then that gives me more time to write, you know, really good music.